offseason. And with that, we all know what that means. Everyone just get into a slump and just wait till the next season comes out. But it's going to be a while because Survivor 41 is officially but not approved for the fall. They're not going to be able to do it because apparently Jeff Probst just doesn't want to leave Fiji. It has to be Fiji. No, it doesn't. Come on over to Canada. We're fine. I mean, but so it's a Survivor offseason, so what do? Well, besides scour Reddit for the least bit of information on any little detail that somebody has found, did you notice that this person wore the same shoes both seasons? You know, any little detail like that we scour and find on Survivor Reddit. Besides that, we all speculate what's going to be the next big season. Now, we just finished one of the biggest seasons of all times, and that was Winners at War. Probably the best time I could have started this channel, but we all know that what's going to happen next is what's going to be the next big event. And so, this is the time to discuss that. And I think we're all feeling the same thing. I think we're feeling it. I think Survivor's feeling it. It's time for Second Chance 2. I mean, we brought Blood vs. Water back after just one season. I think Second Chance 2 is the season to go to because we need new legends. That's the thing. That's what Second Chance did so great, is it brought us new legends of the game, you know? Heroes versus Villains made the legends huge, even bigger than before, but you know, after that we needed something new, something to get all the new characters back and build new legacies of the game. And that's what it all accumulated in Winners at War, but now so many of those players are retired. Bosmarov's never going to do it again. Tony's never going to do it again. Oh, you know, you never know with Tony, but probably not. Tony's never going to do it again. Sandra, she might change her mind, but she's probably never going to do it again. So Parvati's never going to do it again. Yule's never going to do it again. You know, there's some that might. You know, Sophie might. Ben might would do it if he was asked back. I don't know if he would be. But, you know, there's some that would. But I think that when it comes down to it, we all want another second chance. And I think the way to do it this time, this is my format that I'm doing for my personal picks for second chance. I'm saying let's go across the board. And I know Survivor probably wouldn't ever do it this way, but here's what I'm thinking. We have over 40 seasons of Survivor now that we've all had. I would like to go back and do a second chance with taking one player from every season. That's right, one player from every season that has ever played for the voting ballots. Obviously, I don't necessarily expect all of them to get on, but for the voting ballots, you know, put one player from every season up to bat. And I even toyed with the idea of maybe doing like an old school versus new school themed season in Second Chance 2. So you'd have 10 from the old cast, 10 from the new. You know, that way it's all spread around. But my list didn't exactly even out that way in terms of men versus women. But I think you could do it that way, but it just didn't work out with the people that I wanted. So either way, these are, I should get going because there's 35 people that I'm here to talk about. That's a lot. And you know what? That's even more. Only 35 because, of course, second chance meaning you haven't won the game and you haven't returned to the game yet. So that's going to be the criteria for second chance 2. You haven't won the game. You haven't played the game a second time yet. So let's just dive right into it. Number 1, obvious choice, Greg Buis. Greg was the character on the other tribe that everyone was kind of rooting for, you know? And not to say, looking back, everyone just knows Richard Hatch deserved to win, but Greg Buis was the one on the other side. If I had to compare Greg to any character in fiction, I would say Greg is like the real-life Jim from The Office. He's super snarky, super creative. Greg might be a little bit more outspoken than Jim, but, you know, that's the sort of thing where he's just the guy that's going to get you laughing, going to be so fun to have on, but I think he also has a strategic side to him. I think, honestly, he was playing the best version of his own game. He thought Survivor was going to be more of a likability contest, and everyone was just going to vote off people they didn't like to the end. And if that's what both tribes were doing, he probably would have won. But that wasn't what both tribes were doing. Richard Hatch was actually playing smart and decided to vote with numbers. But I think that he tried to adapt, but it was too late. He just didn't have the numbers anymore. And so I think Greg would be an interesting character to adapt to a new season. Honestly, I think that especially if you start the way I suggest is like do old school versus new school. You know, if you did that, I think that way all these older school players would have more of a chance, because if you put them on tribes, that means you'll have one tribe playing the old school way and one tribe playing the new school way, and so it would be interesting to see how they would go up. Now, when you combine all of them into one, then everything goes crazy, and then old school players are like, oh, what is going on? It's too fast. But it'd be interesting if you divided it that way. And I'm not going to talk too much on all of them because I have 35 people to do. Because as I said, all-star seasons, I'm not counting. I am counting seasons like Micronesia, Fans vs. Favorites, and Blood vs. Water, because there's at least some new people on those seasons. Anyways, but yeah, Greg Buis is, to me, just a no-brainer. Next, I have Elizabeth Hasselbeck. And Elizabeth I've chosen... even though I'm pretty sure she has no desire to ever come back to Survivor. I mean, a lot of these people probably don't have a desire to come back to Survivor, but that's not the point. That's not the point. I think that for me, I'm choosing people that I would like to see back. I don't care in this scenario whether they want to come back or not. But the reason I'm choosing Elizabeth Hasselbeck is basically because everyone else from Australia that was interesting already went on. Colby, Tina won, so she wouldn't have been available, but Jerry's been back on, Amber even got back on, Jeff Varner, say what you will about the guy and how he exited Game Changers, really controversial and nasty, but he was an interesting character to come back on. Kimmy Kappenberg came back on, and actually surprised me for her play. But so Elizabeth Hasselbeck is the only one out of note that I would even know. So yeah, that's the only reason I say Elizabeth Hasselbeck, because like I don't even know who anybody of the other characters are. I mean, if Mad Dog Tanner was able to do it, I'd choose her, but I don't think so. Is she even alive? I don't know. I hope she is. She was great. Next, I have T-Bird from Africa, and T-Bird is a no-brainer for one because she was on the ballot for the last time Second Chance went up there, but also. T-Bird and I have actually communicated online. When the last time she was on the ballot for Second Chance, I did a cast assessment video, and I told people to vote for her. And she saw it, and she liked my video, and shared both of my all of my cast assessments on her Twitter, and got it out there. I really appreciate her for that. So I do have a little bit of a vested interest in this, but come on, who else would you want back from Africa except for T-Bird, who hasn't come back? You know, Big Tom, Lex, they've already come back. I think that's it, actually. I mean, Kim Powers, I don't think anyone's really clamoring for her to come back. T-Bird, I think, is the one that would be fun to see back on Survivor because, you know, she's fun, she's energetic. She does that show with Rob talking with T-Bird, and she's always just a great... And I think that if you did this voting format where you had to vote for 10 old school players and 10 new school players, that she would definitely be a shoo-in this time. From Season 4, Marquesas Sean Rector, and this is just another... No, actually, this one's not as a no-brainer for me. This one I had to really think about, because there was a lot of people from Marquesas that I think could have been brought back. You know, one of the obvious ones would be... oh, shoot, why am I blanking on his name? I mean, Nalia would be up there. She should have won, in my opinion. She played a really great game. I think she was just too young. A lot of people didn't respect her game. I think that she's up there with like players like Rob Cesternino as game changers of the game, but the edit didn't show... Like, they wanted to have Nalia as like the Elizabeth Hasselbeck, the sweetheart, but she did do strategic stuff. Kathy O'Brien has already been brought back, so she can't be eligible for this. And John... Oh, what's his last name? I keep on wanting to say John Fincher, but I know that's wrong. John Carroll. So those were the ones that I was really considering, either Sean Rector, John Carroll, or Nalia. I had to go with Sean Rector just because the guy is so charming. He has a lot of charisma. He has that Boston Rob connection that they were good friends and buddies on that season. I think that Sean Rector is also just a guy from the old school era who I just like to see brought back. He's a lot of fun. He's super charismatic. I think he has a head for the game. I think he does. I don't think he was as strategic as, say, Boston Rob, but he has a good head for the game, and he was able to help flip Nalia and Kathy on the whole thing to save himself in V. So I think that Sean Rector coming back would also be a dark horse to win. I think you could see, and I didn't mean that because he's black. I mean it's just because he could definitely win this game, and I could definitely see it. And so it was a tough choice, but I had to go with my gut and say Sean Rector. From Thailand, the only one who doesn't have the taint from her tribe of what happened with Gandia, Helen Glover. Helen is an easy pick from my choice. I'm not sure if she would make it in the voting process, but out of all the people from Thailand, she's the only one that I want to see back. Everyone else were kind of jerks. They were really not nice people, a lot of them. One of them was accused of sexually, not sexually assaulting, but grinding on a fellow classmate, and then he denied it and belittled it and pretended like it was no big deal. And she was the only one that believed the girl who was accused of it. I mean, and the show even kind of portrayed like, oh, she's crazy. Where it's just like, looking at it now, I don't know. I think that Gandia was probably right, and Big Ted should probably have been removed from that game. And so Helen, the only one who believed her, is the only one who I think deserves to be nominated from Thailand. Everyone else, I mean, there was some good, I guess, good people on the other tribe. Like, I remember there was a police officer named Ken, and when I was younger, I wanted to be a police officer, and since Ken's, my name, so I was rooting for him, but he really didn't pop that much as a character. Helen's the only one that kind of really popped that was actually a good person. So, not too much I need to say about that. I just think Helen is a no-brainer. From season 6 of Amazon, I say Dina Bennett. Yeah, Dina is a choice of mine because she was just like Rob Cesternino. She was into the strategy of the game. She was using her alliances and had many different options that she was willing to go with. The problem is she just got a little bit... She struck too soon, and because of that, blew back on her. And so, yeah, I think that Dina... could do really well on a second season. I think what she was doing then isn't considered too schemy. I think if she went on, let's say, All Stars or something, I think she might have been considered too schemy. But I think now, I don't think anyone would view her that way. I think that Dina is just... she's great, she's charismatic, she's fun. I would definitely vote for her if her name was on a ballot on a second time. And, so I'd say Dina Bennett is definitely... I would give her a thumbs up. She has good game. She knows how to maneuver throughout the game. And it's just a fun character to have around. Plus, I like the ladies that want to be the boss. That's what I like. I like that because, you have so many... what's a weird thing on Survivor? Whenever there's a guy who's, all macho, is like, okay, I'm going to be the leader. What does everybody in Confessional do? Is like, yeah, I'll let him be the leader. I'll let him go out in front, and then... everyone will be coming after him, and I'll get off scot-free. But what happens whenever a woman rises up and claims herself the leader? Everyone's like, well, she's just a loudmouth bossing everybody around. I mean, honestly, and they try to vote the woman leader out immediately. It's a thing. The only one that I can say that doesn't really happen to is PG in China, but that's just because the other alternative was Crazy Dave, and I mean, no thank you. But yeah, so I think that Dina would be fun to have. From the Pearl Islands is Krista. Yeah, I think Krista. Pearl Islands has been another season that a lot of people have come back for. I mean, if Johnny Fairplay didn't have his one episode in Micronesia that he was on, I would include him on this list. But he's technically had his second chance, even though there was, things like he had a broken jaw on it and he had to quit because he was in so much pain. But Rupert's been brought back. Sandra won and got brought back. I thought of the other characters, maybe Lil, but she wasn't really all that entertaining. Burton was a good villain, but he was kind of plain in terms of character. He was a little bland, and I can already... Let me say this. Anyone who's been brought back in their season due to a twist is not on this list. So anyone who's came back to Redemption Island, with the exception of maybe one character, one person, one person. I got one person on this list that came back from Redemption Island. But yeah, most of these people, I don't, like, if you've gotten even a second chance in the game itself, I don't want to give you a second chance. So yeah, Burton's not on this list. But I think Krista was a lot of fun. She had a lot of energy. She had a unique character, a unique personality. She was not a character that we saw a lot around then, about the girl who's just, quirky and fun, and we see that a lot more now, and I would love to see her on the show. I mean, she wouldn't necessarily be one that I would vote for every time, but I would nominate. I would put her up there. I would just see what would happen, and I think that she could do really well with it. Alright, the next season is All-Stars, all returning players, so that doesn't apply here. From Season 9 is a character who I think should have been on a long time ago, Twyla Tanner. Yeah, Twyla is just a lot of fun. She is like she's like Sue Hawk in my mind. I'm thinking she's like Sue Hawk. She's a little bit crazy, a little bit like a redneck, but she's fun. She's got strategic mind. Like the moment they all told her that they were voting off Eliza, she is really the one who flipped the whole game. Now, she kind of did it to her own detriment. She really should have gone to the end with Eliza, but no matter what, no matter here or there, I think Chris won the challenges anyway. But, I think that she has an ear for the game, an eye for the game. I was thinking maybe putting Julie Berry on this list, but of course she can't because she's dated Jeff Probst. But I think Twyla, honestly, even if Julie was available, I'd put Twyla on the list. I think that she's just so much fun, would cause so much drama, and would definitely be just a shoo-in to go far in the game, I would say. From Season 10, Palau, Ian Rosenberg. Now, this one's a no-brainer for me because Ian he was a kid when he was on last time. I think that I would like to see what an Ian of nowadays, who's now getting closer to Tom's age when Tom is on, see how Ian reacts in the game, see how Ian plays the game, see how much he's learned and grown since then. I think that Ian would be just a great character to see again because he was on a poll for like over 10 hours and then eventually dropped down and lost the game because of that. But I think that it's just so much that he can do. I mean, I think that he's a character that would definitely have a shot to go far, and depending on how well he's adjusted and learned strategically and socially, could actually go far to the end, as long as he doesn't let other people shake him. That was his problem last time. Like, his friend, Katie would be like, "You didn't take me number one." It's like, I'm so sorry. If he's like, "Well, yeah, we'll suck it up. Maybe he'll go next time." Maybe if he's got a little bit of a harder edge to him and doesn't let people influence him with his emotions as much, he might be able to go far, and I would definitely say he would have a chance to win if he was on. From Season 11, Judd Sargent. I hope you all get eaten by a flipping crocodile. I mean, that exit alone should have brought Judd back. I mean, I think, yeah. I mean, out of all the people on Guatemala, there isn't really a lot of amazing characters. I guess Rafe would be one. Rafe would probably be one that I would consider bringing back as well. Whenever I think of people from Guatemala who should have been brought back, the first one that comes to my mind is Judd, just because he's one of those players that isn't actually that good at the game, but he's so fun. He's not terrible, but he does those. Remember that dumb lie he tried to tell I read the clue to the immunity idol, and it's definitely on the ground. And then he's out looking like this for the immunity idol. I mean, come on. There's got to be fun stuff like that in store for Judd when we bring him back a second time. I'd put him on the ballot. I might even vote for him every now and then. I think that Judd Sargent, we need more people from Guatemala, okay? So you could put Rafe on here too. I wouldn't complain. I think, thinking about it now, I think that, I would prefer Judd. Rafe is a person that I would probably also be really okay with coming back. So I would say those are my ties. I have a few ties on this list, not a lot, but I'm going to make this wasn't originally planned to be a tie, but I'm going to make this a tie of Rafe or Judd. One of these two would be who I would nominate to come back. If you chose one over the other, I wouldn't be totally upset, but My preference, I would say Judd, but I think that both of them would be good enough. Those would be who I would nominate, one of those two. Number 12, Shane Powers. Except we don't let them vote. Shane gets in no matter what. You know, because I know he said he's done because he's like, I'm done. I'm not going back. They keep on cutting me. I know he said he's done. I don't care. I say, bring him back and tell him in private, we'll rig it for you. You will be on this season no matter what. And then bring him back. You know, it's like Shane Powers is just a crazy character. He's nuts. He's a guy that is totally bonkers when he's on the island, and yet he still goes far. It's one of those, like, he's like kind of like Tony in that respect. Not as strategic as Tony, but in that sense, his craziness actually helps his game. You know, where people get used to it, and then, it just wears off, and then all of a sudden, they're not hating him because of his weirdness. They still like him, because now he's their weirdo. I honestly don't think Shane would necessarily have a chance to win the game. I think that in terms of winning strategies, Shane wouldn't have a chance. But I would say that in terms of, being an amazing character on the show, I'd say he's got it hands down. From season 13, Cook Islands, the one where they segregated all the people by their race. Yeah, it was a weird season. This one has also brought back a lot of people. We got Candace back from this season. We've gotten Penner. Penner was a good choice. We got Penner. We got Parvati. Parvati actually was a long shot to come back, but she did, and then she became one of the best Survivor players of all time. But, so many people have been chosen, so when it comes down to it, I just got to choose who's the best character left out of this humongous cast. And it's obviously Cowboy. No, I'm kidding. I mean, as much as I would love Cowboy, I just don't think the time is right, especially with him saying racist Asian jokes on the TV. I don't think that would go over nowadays. Nate would be who I would bring back. I mean, the guy is they portrayed him a little bit as a stereotype, and there's been these podcasts talking about the way black people were portrayed on Survivor, and Nate I think really suffered because of the way he's portrayed. Now he's saying the things he's saying, but I'm sure he's also saying other stuff that they're not showing. Anything he's just like, yeah, my boy, saying stuff like that. But even with that, he was still fun to watch, and he was still entertaining, and he was still a great character. He goes right at the merge, but I still think out of all the people who get voted out after him, Nate is the better character. Who you want? Adam? No. You want... Who else is there that you even care about? Becky? Sandra? No. I think it's got to be Nate. Nate's the one. Even Parvati gave him a recommendation when someone saying... one of her questions she was asked when she was coming back for Winners at War was, who is someone who's in your season that hasn't been brought back yet that should have? And she said Nate. And I agree with Parvati. If you don't agree with this, then you're disagreeing with Parvati. So yeah. Number 14, this is Fiji. Fiji was hard for me to figure out which one I wanted to put on here. Not because there's so many great characters, it's because there's a lot that aren't really that great, but are close to it. I mean, the best people in Fiji were obviously Yao-Man and Earl. I mean, they were just the best characters, and Earl won, and Yao-Man came back for fans versus favorites, so I can't choose either one of them. There's a lot of nobodies in this show. Cassandra, no thanks. I was thinking of bringing back maybe one of the Four Horsemen in like Alex, because he was pretty good at the game. Then I thought of maybe Lisi, but then I was like, no, Lisi was a jerk. Then I came down to what is the most memorable thing about Fiji? And it's the Yao-Man Dreams deal. And we've already had Yao-Man back. It's time to bring Dreams back. And as much as I didn't like, honestly, I was pulling for Yao-Man the whole way when I was watching that season, and I was so mad at Dreams. I think he's not a good Survivor player, really. I mean, Earl was doing all the thinking that season, and he held all the cards, and Dreams was just going along. I want to see the way he has grown as a person and has gone on the show, and maybe see. I I don't think he's homeless anymore. See where his life has taken him over all these years. I would honestly throw a vote Dreams' way if he was put on the ballot for second chance. And I don't think he would have a chance to win. I think he would do better. I think that he's probably become more sure of himself as a person and has learned a lot of his social, learned his social failings that put people at odds with him. But I think he would be so interesting to bring back. Yeah, I would be open to it. Number 15 is Jamie Dugan, and I think that Jamie was a lot of fun. I mean, she's a little bit of a kooky character, but she's also fun. She has the thing where she, plays the fake idol and it scares John Robert out. And I think that, for me, a lot of the other best players of Survivor China have just been taken. They've been brought back. Courtney, James, Amanda. Even Amanda wasn't even the best. I mean, she did a good job when she came back, but I was like, really, Amanda? But PG came back. I mean, PG would have been the one I would have chosen if she didn't come back the last time. So I wouldn't want to say Lunch Lady Denise. She was terrible at the game. So I would say the next one with people of notoriety, I would say is either John Robert, which heck no, I don't want that, especially with what's going on, what happened with season 39. So I think it's got to be Jamie Dugan, or I guess she's changed her name now that she married Eric, but. I would say that she was the one that's just the most fun that I would bring back. I wouldn't necessarily throw a vote for her when the ballot was put out there, but I would give her a chance to explain her case. So, yeah. Number 16, Natalie Bolton. This one is one who I would vote for every time. I don't know if Natalie Bolton has a chance, would have a chance to win this game. I don't know if she would even be able to do all that well, honestly, but I think she has a little bit of that killer instinct. And I think that she did, let me put it this way, I think she did better than Parvati did on her first tryout, so I would be very excited to see what Natalie Bolton would do after learning at the feet of Parvati, Sari, and even Amanda. Learning from those three amazing, powerful Survivor women. And what is she going to do with it? What would she do with it coming back? And let's be honest, the only fan we've ever brought back from the Fans vs. Favorites season, one of the biggest seasons of Survivor history, has been Eric. And of course, you got to bring back Eric over Natalie in terms of, for the Fans vs. Favorites too. But I think that Natalie Bolton is the person that you got to bring back in terms of just seeing someone who might have a chance to win, might have a chance to go far. I would see people underestimating her, and then she could do very well and make it all the way to the end and possibly win. I don't know if she would, though. I think she is a little bit cold, a little bit callous to people, but so is Parvati, so it depends on how she frames herself or plays the game, really. I would say Natalie Bolton could actually have a chance to win if she got brought back. If she was on that ballot, I'd definitely throw a vote for her every time. From there, we go on to Gabon, and I don't know. I mean, I considered a few people, even Ace, even though he was like out pre-merge, I was like, maybe Ace? He was at the very least like he looked like a Bond villain or something that at least gave him something. But when it came down to it, I have to choose either one of the two of the evil duo of Crystal or Kenny. And from that, from the way my math worked out, I had to choose a woman, and so I decided to choose Crystal. Now, Crystal, I bring back because she was a lot of fun. She was crazy, but there would be controversy because Crystal also was outed of cheating in the Olympics, so she got her medals taken away, and so there's a little bit of that. But I mean, maybe she can frame that as a device that here's my chance to redeem myself. I don't know. I would put Crystal on there. I think she would be a lot of fun. She was entertaining. She was a little crazy. Angel Rice! She was... I found her entertaining and fun. I wasn't cheering for her the whole way, but she made a good villain, a good antagonist, person to root against. And, hey, you can do that now, especially knowing that she's a cheater. But who knows? I don't know what she will do. I don't know what that... if they would ever really have her back, but out of all the other characters, I don't want Susie back. I don't care about her. Who else? Who else is there? I mean, you could do Maddie, but while he was fun, he wasn't really all that amazing. And if I'm choosing a woman, well, we already brought back Corinne. We already brought back Sugar. There's nobody else really that I would consider bringing back. So yeah, Crystal would be the person that I would definitely bring back. From Survivor Token Machines, I think that it's pretty obvious which one you would choose from here. Because we've already had a lot of people that got brought back. Coach, we got Tyson, who came back and won. We got JT came back, Steven came back. So I would say the person to bring back, obviously, is Taj, the person from that 3 Jalapao Alliance with, Taj, Steven, and JT. I think you need to bring back Taj. Now, Taj, once again, might not want to come back, but that's not what I'm considering in here. I'm not considering anybody's personal feelings. I think Taj coming back would be so fun. I think she would be a character that would be open to strategy, but might be a little bit more loyal than other people, so would be able to go a long way with that. I think the reason I want one person from every season and not like 3 people from one season, because there's some of the newer seasons, there's like 3 people that I was thinking of choosing from, but I want one person from every season because I don't want all these connections that everyone has. I want everyone to go into this game with, I might have met him at a charity event or something like that, but as little connections as possible. That's what I think the Second Chance season should be, as much as possible. And I think with taking one player from every different season would do that as much as possible. Now, there's still going to be people who made friends with each other outside of the game. You can't really plan for that, but in the end, I think this would be the best way to do it. And I think Taj would be a good one because she was entertaining. She had the idea of the Exile Alliance with her and Brendan. It didn't work out. That was Brendan's fault, not hers. I think that Taj would just be the best character, the best person from Token Machines to bring back. Season 19 Samoa. This one was tough because there was a lot of these people that I actually wouldn't want to see back. I mean, Jason was great, but he kind of died out by the end of it and was like, I don't care. I just want this to be over with. Mick wasn't... Brett wasn't all that entertaining, and he was the one that was like, oh, maybe he'll win. He won a flippin' fan favorite award for crying out loud. Laura Moret, I liked her, but she got brought back. All the other people from her alliance were kind of boring. Monica got brought back, and didn't really go all that far. But when it came down to it, I'm like, who would I want to see brought back? And that would be John Fincher. John Fincher is the one that I would want to see brought back. Now, honestly, part of it is because for me, I know that he is married to Parvati. Yeah, if you didn't know that, I was like, say what? Parvati married him? She could have done so much better. But in any case, yeah, they're married, and I would love to see what it's like for John Fincher to return to Survivor. After being married to Parvati, he's got to have picked up some pointers, some different stuff. And you know what? He might be a poser, as flippin' Jeff called him that one time, but I think that John Fincher could do well. He had a good mind for strategics, but also probably would be able to maneuver in the modern game. I think that he got outplayed by Russell Hantz because he was overstepping his bounds and overplaying his hand. But, because, Shambo doesn't want to do it, and I don't think I'd want Shambo on another season of Survivor. She was fun for one season, too many more, and you're going to wear her pretty thin. I think that John Fincher would be a person that you could see as being another dark horse to win. Now, I don't know if he could win because he's a little bit of a cocky guy and a little bit, his personality doesn't necessarily endear him to other people, but I think it's possible. And then from there, we got Heroes vs. Villains, so we can't return any of those people from there. And then we got Nicaragua, and for this one, it's a no-brainer. Now, there's one person that I would really like to be brought back. That's Marty. He was so much fun and everything. But if I could only choose one, it wouldn't be Marty. It would be Holly Hoffman. Now, you might be like, Holly Hoffman, isn't she the one that, buried that guy's shoes for no reason? Yes, she is, but Holly had the best game in Nicaragua, and I will not hear anybody to say anything of the contrary, because she played her butt off, she played strategically, she played socially, she did everything right, she just didn't win the last immunity challenge, and the guy that they wanted off won. And honestly, if it wasn't for the 2 people being super selfish and quitting, they would have had 2 more immunity challenges that Fabio would have had to have won in order to win. That means he probably wouldn't have won all of them unless he would have broken the record. Either way, her game got tanked because those 2 were like, it's too tough, it's too hard, blah, blah, blah. Selfish. Anybody who comes out in defense of Neonka, I'm just like, I don't care what the edit said. She still said all that stuff. She still stole food. I don't care. She's being selfish. She was terrible. Ugh. But anyways, yeah, I would say Holly Hoffman has to come back sometime. She's in my personal opinion, the most underrated Survivor player of all time. Now, as I said, she started off in the wrong. She started off like, oh, I gotta play Survivor. I gotta do Russell Hantz things. I gotta do all these crazy things. And then she realized, what am I doing? What am I doing? This isn't me. And then when she just played as herself, she dominated the game. I would say if Holly Hoffman came back, I could almost say, it depends on who else is out there, but I'd almost put my winner pick on her. That's how much I would almost guarantee Holly Hoffman could win this game. I want her back. Then from Redemption Island, this is the one that I was saying there is somebody who went to Redemption Island and came back, who I am also bringing back, Matt Alrod. Matt Alrod, even though I knew who was going to win this season when it even started, I didn't care. I thought that, I don't care. I just want Matt Alrod to do well, and he did. And look, I know he's not a great strategic mind. I just found him actually inspiring. As a Christian man myself, to see him go through the struggles that he'd been going through, he really hit a chord with me. And now, I wouldn't necessarily vote for him every time, but I think out of all the people on Redemption Island, who else are you going to bring back? You already brought back Philip. You brought back Andrea, which was a good pick, but didn't necessarily show you that she was going to be an amazing pick. I don't want to bring back Natalie. I don't want to bring back the other girl who I can't remember at the top of my head. I don't want to bring back anybody else. Nobody else. It was great from that season. I mean, Russell Hantz is always a lot of fun, but he wasn't even that fun that season. Stephanie Valencia, heck no, she was boring. I would say definitely Matt Alrod is the only person from this season that I would ever have interest in bringing back. I'm kind of the same for South Pacific. Most of the people there I just wouldn't want to see back. I'd like to see Sophie play a third time. But besides that, everyone else from South Pacific I don't really care about. So I'm going to put Jim Rice up here just because he was nominated last time. I still think Jim's biggest flaw is he has a strategic mind and everything, but he's impatient and he's too prone to anger. The moment Cochran voted out, was it Kevin Keith? I don't know. That guy's I always forget him. But he's like, you coward, you're an idiot, you coward. It's just you might need to work with this guy later on. I mean, take a page out of Spencer's book, for crying out loud. He said something mean and nasty to Cass, Cass, 0 chance of winning the game. But then later, when he realized, okay, I might need to work with Cass, he's like, I'm sorry about that. I was just angry. I was lashing out. But no, everyone just ragged on Cochran. I'm like, you idiots. He's the only chance you have of maybe making it through this thing, you idiots. Anyway, so yeah, that's why I'm not a big fan of Jim Rice, but I'll put him on the list just because, at the very least, he had a personality and a character that I could follow and enjoy and did have some memorable moments. Everyone else, Whitney, the other guy that she had an affair with, whatever, I don't care. Screw them both, I don't care. One World, this one was tough because there wasn't really a lot of options, and the other ones that were options they've already taken. Monica got brought back, and she became more entertaining her second time out. She didn't really get a chance to do anything her first time out. I wouldn't have picked Colton. Colton's my most hated Survivor player of all time. Kat, that was a fun pick. So when it came down to it, I chose the 2 people that were there with Kim. Because Troyzan also got brought back. I would have picked Troyzan if he hadn't got brought back. But I think the 2 people that were at the end with Kim, Sabrina or Chelsea. And I don't know, Sabrina was always so boring to me. Chelsea was at least a little bit more entertaining, but she was a lot more of Kim's pawn. And so that's why I'm going to go with Sabrina, because I think she had at least a little bit of a mind of her own. She just got more maneuvered around by a superior player. But yeah, I wouldn't have vote, like, out of these women that I have here, there's a lot of other women I would vote for over her. But I'm just saying, out of the people from One World, she'd be the person I would choose. Now we come to season 25, Philippines, and our characters start to pick up again. There's a couple of depths in Philippines, but also a lot of people that are good. I think, though, the player that I would want back the most would have to be Jeff Kent. I know he's a big baseball player, and now everyone knows that he might not want to come back because, he's like, yeah, well, everyone knows I'm a baseball player. I can't hide that now. But he could barely hide it then. I think that Jeff Kent was entertaining. He was fun. He was a good player in the challenges. I think that he had the thing against returning players, so it would be fun to see him back as a returning player. Yeah, there's really nobody else on the other tribes. Malcolm was an obvious character to bring back, and they've already brought him back. We've already brought back... Denise won, so she's good. The only other person I would think to maybe bring back is Lisa Welchel, and that's because, she was good. It took her a while to get there, but she was able to work in the game strategically. She helped get Malcolm out. She made it all the way to the end. I think that if Denise wasn't there, if it was the final two with her and Scoopin, she definitely would have won that. I think that, at the very least, I think that she has some game. But I think Jeff Kent would be the one that I would say bring back, because he would be that big character that goes out right after the merge, I would say. I think Jeff Kent is the one that you would want in this position. From season 26, Fans vs. Favorites 2, also known as Caramoan, I decided to go, because I have to choose from someone of the fan side, and I decided to go with Reynolds. Because Reynolds was the only one from the fan side that honestly I really remember all that much. I remember rooting for him. I remember him being great in the challenges. I remember him doing a good job, him broing with Malcolm and their Three Amigos thing. I think that was really good. I think Reynolds is just a character that out of all the fans was the only one that I actually cared about and wanted to see go far. So yeah, Reynolds, definitely. I don't really need to say too much. I don't even know if I would vote for him all that often, comparing with some of these other people that are going to be coming up. But I think that I would put him on the ballot, at the very least. From season 27, Hayden Moss. Yeah, Blood vs. Water was a season that had a lot of good characters, and I think Hayden would be one of the better ones. I mean, the only other person that I would consider putting over him would be Caleb, but Caleb died. And that's sad to say. But it's true, Caleb passed away, and so that's not even an option. So out of all the people that were on that season, I would say it has to be Hayden, because he played his butt up there. He got Sierra to flip. Sierra's already been brought back, so you can't bring her back. It's got to be one of the fans. We already brought back, one of the Blood people. We've already brought back Brad Culpepper. I would honestly put Hayden over Brad Culpepper. Yeah. Even if Brad Culpepper was on the table, I would have chosen Hayden. Not too much to say. I would vote for Hayden. If he was on the ballot, I would definitely throw a vote his way. Season 28, and you know what? When it comes to Cagayan, they got some elite players. Because to put this in perspective, every time a player from Cagayan has played again, they've either made it to the end or won. Every single time. Second chances, we have Spencer and Tosh make it to the end. Sure, Wu didn't, but Wu and Cass didn't. But you know what? Cass made it to the merge, and Wu didn't. That's fine. But you got two of them that did, and then we got Game Changers. Sarah wins. We got Winners at War. Tony wins again. So Cagayan is a dominant season of players. And so, when it comes down to it, though, who would I bring back that hasn't been brought back yet? The only real choices that I had in mind were either LJ or Trish. And when it comes down to it, it's got to be Trish. I know Trish she's a good player socially. She has a great social game. She's a little bit lower on the strategicness of Survivor, but I think that she is definitely a player to bring back. I think that Trish is fun. She is an amazing story. I think that Trish would be a person I would vote for every time. A lot of people always says that, hey, Tony wouldn't have won without Trish, and I think that's true. I think in the same way Tony wouldn't have won without Sarah is the same way with Trish. He needs somebody to be able to cover the areas that he's not exactly skilled in and be his is not his shield, but to complete the puzzle. You know, they're like they need somebody to balance himself out, and he had that in Trish. But I would want to see what Trish would be like on another season with other players. You know, without Tony. You know, what is she like? Does she do this loyal game again? Does someone bring her forward? Does she realize I got to cut the head this time before they cut me? I don't know if she has that speed in her, but I would be interested to find out of all the people on Survivor Cagayan who have not come back, Trish would be my number 1 draft pick. Now, season 29, we got my first tie besides Guatemala. I also tied there. But I didn't write that down to tie. I kind of just think, oh, yeah, either one. But this one I put Josh Canfield or Reed Kelly. Whichever one of them can do it. I know that Reed is, Spider-Man from Turn Off the Dark. I don't even know if that's doing it anymore. But, whichever one of them can do it, I think, and I don't just mean, they're both gay and they're a couple, they're interchangeable. It's just like, I think that it has to be one of them, and I think both of them has a claim. Josh was a big power player in the early goings of San Juan del Sur, and people thought that he could win. Now, he went out, and then Jeremy went out right after him, and Reed stuck around a little longer and did the move that got foiled by the stick to the plan move, but I think that Reed is character that would be really good on a second chance, and so would Josh. I can't really choose which one of them would be the better one, because I think both of them would be really good, and I don't think if you chose one, it would be an obvious mistake. So that's why I kind of have them as a tie. Either one of them would do. It's an obvious choice. When San Juan del Sur, Kelly Wentworth has been on. We've had, who else would you choose? I guess maybe John Mish. John Mish possibly, but I think that he won't bring the layer of character, social, and possibility to win as Josh or Reed would. And so that's why they would definitely be my pick. From Survivors 30, we got Mama C. Obviously, Mama C, I think she should have been back the last time they did Survivor Second Chances. She wasn't able to campaign for herself last time because she was still in a season that was airing. But this time she couldn't. I think this time she should make it. She is definitely she's a player that would do what Trish didn't do, in my mind. Because in their season, Tyler was the one everyone was looking at as possibly winning, and she voted Tyler out. Didn't even hesitate. Didn't think, it's going to be hard. Just like, yep, let's do it. Now, it put her game a little bit in jeopardy later, and honestly, they couldn't vote out Mike anyway, so it doesn't matter what they were going to do. But I think that Mama C is definitely somebody who you could bring back and would have a chance to win. I could see her going far. I could see her manning an alliance that could go all the way to the end. The other people I considered possibly Rodney. I don't think Rodney would win a ballot to get on a second time, so let's just put him in a different season, I don't know, whatever you'll do, but I would want Rodney back, but I think in terms of which one I would want back more, I gotta say Mama C would be the one, just because I think she was gypped of her chance last time because of her season being on. I think she deserves to be brought back, and she should. She definitely should. Then after that we have Second Chance, so nobody gets the second chance from already being on Second Chance. I would put Sydney from the Survivor Co-Raw. Sydney, for me, it would be one of my favorites. I would highly consider making her my winner pick if she got on again. I know she wants to come on again. I've seen some tweets of her saying, hey, put me back on the island, Probst. And I'm like, yeah, Jeff, listen to her. She's a triple threat. She's an amazing social player. She's got a great strategic mind. And she's a beast in terms of challenge prowess. She's one of the picks that I'm just shocked hasn't been brought back yet. I mean, I would have brought her back for Game Changers. I would have brought her back for, I can't do Winners at War. But, I would have brought her back a lot sooner. And I hope she just doesn't get forgotten under just swept under the rug. I think Sydney is she's so good that it was like, look, I was a humongous Aubrey fan watching the show. And even I was like, I kind of almost want Sydney to beat her. But she didn't, and it would have been so interesting to have a different world where Sydney, wins against Aubrey in the final fire-making challenge. Maybe she wins. I don't know. I don't want to mess with the timeline because the timeline ends with Tony winning Survivor twice, so I'm okay with that. But I would love to see Sydney get a second chance to come back, play this game again. I think Sydney is one of those you have to watch out for because she could make it all the way to the end and beat all of your butts at an immunity challenge. There wasn't really anybody else I was considering from Co-Wrong. I mean, there's some people that would be good choices, like Kyle Jason. I mean, Ty has already been brought back. Aubrey's already been brought back. Michelle's already been brought back. But in terms of just people who I want back, like, it wasn't even a discussion. It's like, oh, that season? Sydney. Easy peasy, done. She's just the best, and I would love to see her play again. Now, from Survivor Season 33, we got Millennials versus Gen X, and there was a few people I was considering. I recently rewatched this season, my wife's first season of Survivor in many years, and I think I might have her interested in watching more, but we'll have to wait and see. Either way, she liked that season. There were some people I was considering, possibly bring back. The one that I was thinking of maybe was Michelle, because looking back, she was a beast. She was great strategically, great socially. She had an amazing strategic game. She played hard. She worked on... Yeah, she was amazing at puzzles. Like, one of the best puzzle players I've ever seen on Survivor. But I think that in terms of characters who I would really want, I gotta go Jay. Jay's just a guy. As long as Tails isn't there, as long as flippin' Taylor isn't there, he's fine. Jay got a little insufferable when Taylor was around, a little bit of a, whatever, dude, you, suck, a little bit of a stupid teenager style, but he was a good player. He played fun. He was very energetic. His exit is iconic. You gotta give it to him. That moment where Michaela realized she was getting voted off and looked at him and he stared her down, that was bad arse. I would definitely think Jay is a no-brainer. You gotta bring back Jay, and Jay would get my vote every single time. Then after that, we got Game Changers. So, that's another season that doesn't work. But then we got Heroes versus Healers versus Hustlers, and I gotta give it to Devin Pinto. The fire twist screwed him over. Devin Pinto, if he had won, I think would have been one of the best winners of all time. The way he had his alliance he turned a new alliance against the majority alliance, but then left a sleeper agent in there to get all their information. I'm like, yes, amazing. And then when Ben had his idol and everyone thought, oh, he wasn't going to search for an idol because I have a fake idol, I was like, oh, yeah, good, but something doesn't feel right about this. Something doesn't feel right, so I'm going to throw a vote on Dr. Mike. Amazing strategic play, amazing 3D chess that Devin Pinto is doing. He's one of the best to never win. I will say that. Devin Pinto was robbed by the fire-making twist, and he was one of the best players to never win. I would love to see him back again, and I would put my winner pick on him if he got brought back again. Exactly. I mean, I wouldn't even think twice about it. Okay, I would think twice with another person that's going to be coming up later. But I would put my winner pick at least, I do two. One for a guy, one for a girl. For my guy pick, he would have it locked up. In almost any scenario, I don't see a season where he doesn't make it to the merge, and I don't see a season where he doesn't become a threat to win. Devin Pinto, 100%. You just got to bring him back, Survivor. You screwed him up, now put him back on. There's a few people on here that I think they screwed up and they got to put back on. But yeah, Devin Pinto would definitely be one for me. And speaking of other people who might have a chance to win, I would say my next pick from Ghost Island, Dominic Abate. Dominic was another person I feel was screwed by the twist. For the fire-making twist. I feel like in any other season, he would have done everything right to win. And, even broing down with his buddy all the way to the final one just to beat him in the immunity challenge. All comes down to that immunity challenge. But then what? Now he has to make fire. He has to put his own game at risk just to get rid of that fire-making twist. Okay, Survivor. You got rid of Edge of Extinction. Good. Next, get rid of the Idol Nullifier. Next, get rid of the fire-making twist. Those are your orders. Carry them out, please. But yeah, Dominic, this is another one where I didn't even really think about it. I didn't have to consider anybody else. Him, Devin Pinto, and Sydney, they're all those are the ones I want back. Those are my locked three. Those are ones that I would vote for every single time, and I would encourage everyone to vote for them if they got brought back on another poll season where you get to vote the cast on. Now, from David versus Goliath, this is a tricky one because I know who everybody else would want, but I kind of have my eye on somebody else. Everybody else, I think, would want Christian Hibiki. And honestly, that's a great choice. He's so entertaining. He's so much fun. He's strategic. He's social. He's got everything you would want for a Survivor player. But I want Davey Rickenbacker. Davey, to me, is more entertaining, just as strategic, and just as social. I mean, it's just like, I like Davey Rickenbacker so much. He was the one I was hoping to win. I had a feeling Nick was going to win, but I was hoping Davey was going to win. I was hoping he was going to pull it out, but he wasn't able to do it. So this is another tie, because I have a feeling if it was this sort of season where you can only have one, I think Christian would probably be the one they would choose. But I would personally want Davey. I think Davey Rickenbacker is just one of the best recent Survivor players in first-time player seasons, and I think that he has a chance to go far. And there's a lot of players in David vs. Goliath I would bring back. Elizabeth, she's one I would love to bring back. Angelina, she's another one that would be great to bring back. I just think, though, that in terms of it, I would love Davey Rickenbacker out of all of them. Would be my number one pick. Now, season 28, we're getting a little bit into our little dark ages here, but I think a lot of people would say, oh, obviously for this, it's got to be Devens, right? It's got to be Rick Devens. Look, Rick Devens is a good player, but I think he's one of those players that shines too bright and allows him to be killed. Which is why, instead, I'm going for Victoria. Yeah. I feel like Rick Devens already had his second chance. Same with Chris Underwood and whatnot. Victoria, I think, is probably one of the best underrated players of all time. I mean, in terms of the edit buried her. She didn't really have all that much to do, but she was always, you could always tell just by the way everything was, all the players were surrounding her and working through her, and for a young player to work this well through it, I think she deserves to be brought back. Rick Devens is going to be brought back again another time, so I would say Victoria is the person that I would bring back for Survivor Second Chances, because Rick Devens had a second chance. He got brought back from flipping edge of extinction. So yeah, I would say it's got to be Victoria. She would be the one that I would say is the person I would. She's the person that I would go for in my bet. And our last pick comes from season 39, a Dark Age season, but it's an obvious pick for me. Now I know a lot of people would probably say, "Well, Elaine, right?" Nope. Nope, Survivor needs to pay reparations. Kelly Kim. Give Kelly Kim another run. I think that she played amazing strategically. I think that she got targeted and she had no way to defend herself because she thought everyone was just being a nice human being. She thought everyone was being a nice human being and saying, let's vote off this guy who's being a jerk and is touching people in inappropriate ways. So I say you got to be Kelly Kim. And if not Kelly, Janice. You know, you got to make good on these people who are the decent people. Reward the people who acted like a decent human being. And I was cheering for Missy when I was watching it. And then, look, I don't think Missy is a horrible person. I don't think Elizabeth is a horrible person. I think they were just playing a game and they didn't realize how bad everything was. But when it comes down to it, you got to reward the people who either are the victim of what happened, and I don't mean a victim as in she's helpless, of the person who the misdeed was handled to, or give it to the person who spoke out for that person. So I would say Kelly Kim, just because I think she's better strategically as a player and worked better, and I think that she would have a better grasp of the game. I think Janice could have won that season, but it was only because of that stupid Isle nullifier. But I think that I would go Kelly. That would be my pick. And that's all. You might notice if you've been doing the number crunching that I have 18 guys and 17 women because there's 35 seasons because of the returning player seasons. Well, I would just say do Survivor season 41 and just put in whichever is the best women character from that season. Make them return. But yeah, and then do Survivor Second Chance for 42. Or I don't know when you'll do it. This is just a take that I had. I don't know what they'll do, what they got going on moving forward. But here's just a little bit of picks of who I would have if I could do one person to be nominated from every single season for first-time players to get a second chance. I don't have anything else to say. I probably said too much. Thanks for watching, everybody. I'm out.